everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Lakin Harmon. I am the founder and president of Zoe's House Rescue, based in Berks County, Pennsylvania. It's an honor to be part of such a remarkable event. It touches my heart. I have family that are cancer survivors, and I have also extended my family in my everyday work to people that are cancer survivors. So thank you very much for having me. Zoe's House started about 1.5 years ago. I started it based on the fact that I actually rescued a dog named Zoe. I rescued Zoe 6 years ago out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And when I moved to Pittsburgh, I knew nobody, knew nothing, and I tell everybody she truly rescued me. What the dog gave me, I wanted to be able to in turn give to other people. So I lost Zoe, unfortunately, in November of 2010, and I tell people she always took a piece of me with her, but I figured what better thing to do as a thank you for what she had given me than to continue the legacy of rescue and to do it under her name. Zoe's House is a network of foster homes. We are all volunteers. We dedicate our homes, our hearts, and our time to rescuing animals that are in high-kill shelters or owners in the community that can no longer care for them. We take in abused, abandoned, neglected animals. We get them veterinary treatment, we rehabilitate them, and then we put them into their forever homes. We are an all-breed rescue. We are not breed-specific, but we also see the need to save Dobermans, Rottweilers, and Pit Bulls to be ever-growing. So we have focused on saving these majestic and strong breeds. It's funny because when I say Pit Bull, I get a bunch of different responses. People's eyes usually get real big, and I get one of two things. Either they're the best dogs in the world, or aren't those fighting dogs? Aren't they nasty? Aren't they aggressive? And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that because it is a predominant breed that are in the shelters in this area. So I ask all of you, does anybody know what a Pit Bull is? The term Pit Bull actually is a term. It's just that. It refers to a bunch of different breeds. The American Pit Bull Terrier, the American Staffordshire Terrier, and the Staffordshire Bull Terrier, and any combination of the three. In some parts, people also encompass the American Bulldog into that as well. For today's purpose, I will use the generic term Pit Bull, even though it really has no definition. To give you a little bit of background about the Pit Bull, it was always a family dog. In the beginning of the 20th century, if you wanted a dog and you wanted it around your children to protect your children and be devoted companion to your children, you wanted a Pit Bull. I don't know if many of you have seen Little Rascals, but Petey on the Little Rascals was actually a Pit Bull. There was actually many famous people back then who owned Pit Bulls. Theodore Roosevelt, Helen Keller, Mark Twain, Thomas Edison. They had a very good reputation back then. They were also used in infantry in World War I, and there's actually several Pit Bulls that, there's actually a statue that I was able to see in Gettysburg that was given the rank of sergeant due to her loyalty to her troops. So the thing that really is bothersome, especially to us as Pit Bull owners, is how did they become so maligned and misunderstood? And most of us that are advocates of the breed will tell you that the media has done that. The media has done it to numerous breeds from the 70s to the 90s. They have done it to the Doberman, they did it to the Rottweiler, they did it to the German Shepherd, and that brings us to the Pit Bull. People will call, I get calls on a weekly basis, that they don't have a breed in mind, they don't have a dog in mind, they just want the right fit for their family. On the tail end of that, they'll say, but I don't want anything pit or pit mix. So I take that as an opportunity to educate people. But I also tell them, why don't you come out to one of our events? I always welcome people to come out to one of our events. Every single one of our events, we have a ton of children volunteers. They range from my son, who's 4, up until teenagers. And the look on people's faces when they come into those events and see all these kids with all these pit bulls and Rottweilers and Dobermans and handling them, it speaks for itself. We, as a society, tend to blame the wrong end of the leash. And I think that's something that we really need to focus on, is it's not the dog, it's how they're raised. People with bad intentions tend to gravitate towards these breeds because they are so strong, so loyal, so intelligent. Those bad people, though, are the reason that they're misinterpreted. They're also the reason for BSL, which is becoming and popping up all over the country. BSL stands for breed-specific legislation. And sadly enough, what that means is if you own a pit bull, or even a dog that looks like a pit bull, they will give you X amount of time to euthanize the dog or get it out of the area. This is very sad for a breed that is so loyal and so dedicated to their owners. A lot of people say, though, that their temperaments are unstable. And what I find interesting about that is there's a society, it's the American Temperament Testing Association. They test thousands of dogs on a yearly basis. The American Pit Bull Terrier actually has an 85.3% passing rate, where an all-dog average is 81.9%. The American Pit Bull Terrier takes second only to the Golden Retriever. I have personally adopted many of them to people in all kinds of situations. People with children, people with newborns, people fighting battles. And I have never been unsure, I've never been uneasy. I even let my 4-year-old son around all of the foster dogs that come into our home. I actually just got an update last week from a woman that I didn't know it at the time, but she was a younger woman and she adopted one of our pit bulls. What I had come to find out was she adopted him because she had hit her remission date of her breast cancer, and he goes along with her to all of her events, all of her sponsoring things, and has been absolute companion for her. I also have a woman that just adopted a second dog from us, and her first one actually found the breast cancer in her. There's a lot of myths associated with the breed. The most popular myth is that their jaws lock. No breed of dog out there's jaws lock. So it's just not physiologically possible. Another common one I get is, will pit bulls turn on their owners? Dogs don't just get aggressive for no reason. There could be a myriad of reasons behind that, but they don't do it just because. It could be improper handling, lack of socialization, training, illness, but they don't just turn on their owners. I actually had the opportunity to meet some of the Michael Vick dogs, and that was heart-wrenching to see what those dogs had went through. They had seen the absolute worst in people, and one in particular, his name is Johnny Justice. He actually teaches children how to read now. I took one in to our rescue a few months back. And when I got her, she had a shattered leg, broken ribs, she was blind from head trauma, and her ear was about to explode. This is a dog that had seen the absolute worst in people. I had come to find out later that she was hung in the basement and she was beaten with a nightstick until she was lifeless. And I really wasn't sure what this little pit bull was going to be like. The day I brought her to my house, we got her emergency treatment, and she just was desperate for any kind of love or attention. And she actually lives in a home now with, she was adopted a month ago, and she lives in an amazing family with children and knows what the good life is now. No dogs are born aggressive. You have from submissive to dominant when they're born. I've whelped a few different litters in rescue, and each puppy has its own little personality. But it's all how they're brought up and the kind of training and whatnot behind it. So I did want to say that there's a few little did you knows that I had stumbled across that I just think are really eye-opening. Did you know you're 16 times more likely to drown in a 5-gallon water bucket than you are to get killed by a pit bull? You are 60 times more likely to be killed by a coconut than to be killed by a pit bull. And you're 151 times more likely to be killed by your bathtub than you are by a pit bull. So I really hope that today I was able to give you a little bit of education about the breed that's just so misunderstood, and maybe consider opening up your home or your hearts to one. The truth is, I was actually uneducated about the breed until a few years ago when I took my first one in. And I absolutely fell head over heels in love with the breed. The thing that's still hard for me to understand, though, is why 6,000 pit bulls are put to sleep every single day. It's by far more than any other breed. And hopefully we can start to get the news out about just what an amazing breed they are. If you are looking for a loyal, devoted, and passionate breed, we can definitely help you out with that. We are always looking for foster homes, we're always looking for volunteers, and we're always looking for people that can help us get out there and educate about the strong breeds that we do typically focus on. So come see us, we're back in the corner, and thank you. I hope you all are having fun.
All right, thank you very much, Lakin.